Hello and welcome to the Icebreakers Lookbook with myself, Frankie Seaman, and my amazing co-host, Alexandra Schauman. We will be talking you through all the glamorous throwback looks because this week, it was the 80s, baby.
It was the 80s, yes. And you are looking fantastic. Look at you, look at that hair, look at that glitter and the earrings. I'm loving it. All the sparkles and shimmers. I'm all here for it.
Gotta do the 80s, baby. Well, you're looking pretty slick yourself. Were you even born in the 80s? You bet you were born in the 80s, weren't you?
I was born in the 80s. I don't think I was not old enough to have makeup and hair done, but I was definitely born in the 80s. And I remember having this kind of fringe kind of. I think that was that was a rocking thing, and using all this hairspray, which I had to use tonight as well because it takes a lot of hairspray to make it stay up like this. I've forgotten.
You look like you came straight from the disco. I'm here for it, baby. I love it. Loving the side ponytail. That is incredible. It is gravity defying. So well done, you. And also, I have to say, if you guys haven't checked out Alex's TikTok and Instagram this week, she's had some incredible footage of her and her husband, Lukasz. Of course, they're an amazing couple, both on the ice and off the ice. And they've done some wonderful skating for you guys outside on the lake, outside their very own house, actually, in Sweden. And I was green with envy, honestly. It was like I'd turned back into the Wicked Witch because I was so jealous. That footage looked amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. No, it's been a great week, and it's been frozen. It's been -degrees. So the ice was just stunning. So we couldn't help ourselves. We had to go out there, try to do it every year. But of course, not guaranteed. Depends on weather. It's not like in the studio where they have guaranteed nice. But I would say my ice was pretty good. It was pretty smooth. And it's cool because it's black as well. So obviously in the studio, they can project different colors onto the ice. So we have to work on that, maybe zhuzh it up a little bit. I'll have Luke look into it for us. But yeah, anyways, I think it was the show that got me inspired to hop on the ice. So I think we should just dig in. I thought it was a brilliant, fun 80s week. Lots of color, lots of surprises again. Maybe not as much hair and makeup looks that we had thought when we talked about this the previous week. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I have to say, obviously, you and I have both gotten right into the 80s theme. You're there with your pink and your turquoise and your sparkles and your hair. And I did the same thing, a glitter eyelid. And I was expecting to see a little bit more glitter and glam because I think the 80s really was the start of when people really started to push looks and start to push fashion. So I was a little bit not disappointed, but surprised that it was a little bit tamer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a rocking wild 80s, and it ended up being kind of like a night in with a glass of wine 80s.
Right. First up, we had Michaela and Mark, and they skated to Venus by Bananarama. And I thought it was a fun look. I enjoyed the red and white and black. And I actually thought that Michaela really looked like Dolly Parton, which I don't think perhaps was what the look they were going for. But I thought it was really, and I enjoyed Mark's super sparkly pants. And of course, he had his little curls going on. But Michaela's makeup was fun. She probably had more blusher on than I have at this point, but she had the really, really pink eye and blusher overload as well. But, she manages to look gorgeous and cute in everything. I kind of really enjoyed the hairstyle and the bows as well there. What did you think?
Well, she was definitely the lady in red, wasn't she? And she's got that $1 million smile. And I think the thing is, I went for big blusher on the lookbook. Sorry, I went for big blusher this week on the main podcast with Matt because obviously the 80s is all about blusher. I think I've toned it down a bit today. I'm not sure why. I went for the glitter eye instead. But yeah, I think with the red around her eyes and then highlighted with the black, I think it was quite a striking look and probably one of the most 80s looks with the bandana around her hair and the curly locks.
Yeah.
She's giving me like prime Madonna as well, or maybe Boy George.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I kind of forgot about Madonna. That's a good comparison too. I don't know why I just thought Dolly Parton but that's probably because she's so smiley and cute when she started on the podium. And of course, there we saw both Robin and Vicky as background dancers on the podium, looking gorgeous. But they had really funky screens. I thought it was a really upbeat, creative. It was a great opener to the show. So I was a bit disappointed to see that they again perhaps didn't get as high scores as I think they should have. But I really enjoyed the look, and it was a different spin on Venus because from the original music video as well, it's slightly different, but it was still very much yes. And of course, Mark had choreographed, so there was mountain top, and they were doing these small lifts, and they were doing everything. So I thought that went really well with the whole creative and the look.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Venus, she definitely was. Goddess, she 100% was. And Lady in Red in her red and black and her cute little polka dot top, but she was giving me prime 80s. So I think it was a good opener to the show.
That's great. So second we had, oh wait, are you gonna do it? No, I'll do it. Sorry. We should go live because then at least we just have to do it. Sorry, Matt. This is it's at midnight. Oh my god. Do you want me just to say it and you hold up the picture? Because we said every other, but I think
Yeah,
it,
you introduce every single one, and then I'll just hold up the picture, and then I'll as soon as you're finished introducing, I'll go into the second one. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Clap again.
right. And after that, as number two, out the tunnel, we had Charlie and Eric, and they skated to Never Too Much. Never Too Much. And of course, it was very sad to see them go. But I did like the creative. I did like the look here as well. They had a kind of funny pink and then Bordeaux and cricket theme in the beginning. I saw a little bit as well. So, what did you think of Charlie's look?
I thought Charlie was beautiful this week. I was really, obviously, we're always sad to see her go, and she's a stunning lady. But I don't know. I just thought this soft pink with the brown really suited her. So if you're watching at home, they've done a soft pink eyeshadow all around her eye, which is a bold choice because it can make you look like you've got pink eye, you've been crying. But she's got dark brown eyes, and it's set her eyes off beautifully with a pale brown eyebrow. But then on top of that, they gave her this sort of like dark brown eyeliner just along the lash line, just so that the lashes could sit on top of that. And then they lightened up her cheeks with a bright pink blush, which of course is very 80s. And then top the whole thing off with this fantastic fuchsia lipstick, which I think matched perfectly with her. Well, she's bordering on neon, isn't she, really? I mean, Eric, yeah, he looked good in his wig and he'd got his Bordeaux and his shirt on, but he kind of paled into the background with this hot pink woman that he was handling on the ice. So she was hot enough for all of the 80s, actually. And I think the way that they did her hair, it wasn't too overstated, unlike mine today, unlike yours today. She had a very natural kind of flow to it, and it looked lovely as she was skating across the ice, obviously. So I think if you're going to go out, and spoiler alert, Charlie and Eric did go out this week, but if you're going to go out, I think that's probably a look you'd be happy to go out on.
Yeah, actually, that kind of hit the nail on the head, and there was nothing. Everybody looked gorgeous this week, but I think it was probably just a bit. 80s wasn't necessarily always the prettiest decade. You know what I mean? So I think everybody looked fairly, which is it is dancing on ice, and again, I'm sure the hair and makeup team can't help but to always like make people look gorgeous. But it was a bit. I was expecting a bit more, and like you said, Charlie here is looking fantastic, but I wouldn't look at her and be like, oh, she's definitely skating to an 80s themed week.
Now we have to talk about the guys' looks this week because I feel like the guys had very strong wigs, and you and I talked about this in the past that some of the guys had been quite tame with their looks. But here's Eric rocking his blonde frostings, and I'm here for it, Eric. So yeah, well done to you, and we're sad to see you go.
Yeah, really sad to see you go. You've been amazing. And actually, talking about wigs, we're going to move on to couple number three because I was on it last week. Skating third was Dan and Vanessa, but I'm going to talk about Dan here because I was saying, give the guy something, give him a dig. I wanted him to have that lion mane for Lionheart. And here, actually, they did. He had a quite a large, I think it was maybe a hairpiece or a full wig. I don't even know. I don't think with the hairline. I think it's just the hairpiece added in. But he looked, it was like zha zha zoom.
That's quite the hairpiece. Well, obviously he was skating to George Michael and Faith, one of my favourite tracks. I mean, iconic 80s. There he is with his hairy chest out, with his white vest on and his leather jacket. And yes, finally, Dan got a hairpiece. They changed it up. And didn't he just look like George Michael? I bet his mom was thrilled.
Yes, I think she was. No, he looked. They always. This is the hot couple, both him and Vanessa. I really liked Vanessa's look as well. But I was so happy to see him kind of rocking a different hairpiece. But yeah, here is Vanessa has had different hairstyles, and I really liked her in this little blonde, cute wig. It's not, maybe not something that you look at her and think, oh, but she looks really good in this. I mean, is there anything she doesn't look good in?
We haven't found it yet, whatever it is. Keep trying. Yeah, a cute pixie blonde crop cut. Who would have thought? But look, it's completely changed her face. It's
Yes.
completely changed her features. It's almost changed her skin tone. Like she's just glowing from the top down. What happened?
No, and again, here was kind of, they went with completely just white and black. Obviously, Adan, just like you said, in the jeans and leather jacket. And then Vanessa had this whole look, which I loved, with the biker shorts in black, and then this dress on top with a really wide belt and the polka dots. It was really funky for a creative, and funky for 80s look, I thought. Yes, what a great picture of them there. So I really enjoyed this, and obviously it started with the guitar, so the creative they had was very fitting for George Michael and for Faith, like you said. What a tune.
Yeah, I thought this black and white dress that they put Vanessa in, when I first saw it, I was like, oof, that's a bold choice. But it just actually ended up fitting really well. I mean, when we think about George Michael, he was always kind of surrounded by these super hot models and everything. And I think Vanessa with that blonde pixie bob wig was she totally took me back to like a Christy Turlington or
Yeah.
that kind of era, like a Linda Evangelista type era. I know he didn't do that in the Faith video. He probably did that in his Too Funky or his Freedom video. But still, the whole thing was so evocative of George Michael. And obviously, they ended up top of the leaderboard, so the judges loved it too.
Yeah. But again, I think if we move on, we have another wig coming up. Like you said, it's really the guys in the wigs. And it was Molly and Colin skating number 4 to Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. What a tune as well. But I have to say, Colin, it's again, I don't know if are they going for George Michael again? Is it like a George Michael themed week? Maybe it wasn't the 80s. Maybe it was a George Michael themed week. What do you think?
Well, Matt Evers on the main episode of the Icebreakers podcast this week also came as George Michael, so I feel like George was rocking the 80s. George, it was your time to shine. I mean, we're going to have a little close up of this wig on Colin because it was very distracting.
Yes, look at that. Wind beneath my hair, I was going to say.
Now, the two of them were a vision in pink, and the creative itself was very, very beautiful. I think, when you looked at it, the first thing you thought was sort of new romance, like proper 80s, wasn't it? Look at that. Crimped
Yeah.
hair, and he had the big bouffant hair, almost bordering on a bit of a mullet. And then they were in this pink, very blousy, blouson-y type outfits. Both of them had sleeves and then a lot of billowing going on. It just felt very sort of Duran Duran and very 80s. What did they skate to again now? I've forgotten. It just was on the tip of my tongue.
They skated to Time After Time,
Oh,
Cyndi
yeah,
Lauper.
of
And
course.
I actually was going to say, I mean, I love the creative because they had, they started off in the tunnel, and she was sat on the table, and it was all, time. There was clocks everywhere. There was clocks displayed, watches on the screens behind them as well. And I think it really tied together with the piece as well, with the choreography and with the looks. So it was a dreamy piece. And again, I kind of didn't write anything down during the whole number. I just really sat back and enjoyed it because it was beautiful. And especially Molly looked stunning as well. Like the crimped hair, again, gorgeous girl as she is, but the makeup was really, again, very, very pretty on her as well. She had very glittery, well, peachy and glitter. What do they do with people? They look amazing, their skins. They have this glow, this dewiness, obviously probably picked up by that beautiful costume as well that sparkles for days. But it was, yeah, just, oh, I can't stop looking. She's very, very, very beautiful there.
I think another one here, they've given us some hair pieces, which are a little, well, obviously longer and lighter and obviously crimped, but it's almost affected her skin tone too. Like she looks darker, and she looks almost peachy to brown toned, which we've not seen on
Yeah,
her. Normally she's quite pale, and we think of her as being a bit of an English rose type of look, but this
yeah,
looks a lot more dramatic, even though it was a very romantic style. And I think the softness of the outfit and the softness of the hair really helped to soften it. But look, she's got a slightly darker lip, which is not what you'd expect with this sort of overall pinky colour. And she's actually got quite a dramatic eye as well. And like I said, I don't know if they put bronzer on her, but I do think her skin tone has been darker, or is darker here. So maybe it was the
yeah.
spray tone.
I was gonna say maybe she just has gotten very excited about the spray tans. Usually in my experience, people start a bit, oh, maybe just a little bit week 1, 2, and then as it with the sparkles, and we've seen that in costumes too. Like then it's like, give me more sequins, give me more spray tan. So we'll see what they look like in a few weeks' time.
Can we just have a chat about the state of her top? It is absolutely breathtaking. It is crystals upon crystals upon crystals. She's got crystallized like bra underneath, a sheer top, which has then got crystals on top of it, in almost like a pinstripe down the bodice.
Yeah.
And then obviously the arms are very, not floaty, but very soft and gentle with this kind of ruching at the shoulders. And then obviously it goes into this really flattering V-shaped skirt or diamond-shaped skirt, which you can just see there. I think we can see her stoma bag under there. And I think we have to
Yeah.
sort of talk about the fact that with her costuming, she's always got to be conscious of the fact that she has a stoma bag. So she needs to have room to make sure that that's fitted, safely and securely and isn't going to get in the way and the
Yeah.
costume's not going to get caught on it. But by the same token, Colin has to lift her around that area too. So I'm sure for these guys, they've got this extra element of having to incorporate their creative and their costumes and to some extent probably their looks to make sure that everything ties together, while still being mindful of the fact that she's had an ileostomy.
Yeah, no, I think, and again, I don't know if it's perhaps she doesn't want to keep mentioning it, though they as a couple don't want to keep mentioning it to take away from anything they're doing, but they should mention it because, like you said, it's a lot of things that go into it. They have to really think about what they put in lift wise and choreography wise, and like you said, it goes, it's a lot of things that the costumers and Vicky has to think about, and even designing the looks and everything. Some things that might just not be, doable.
Yeah, but look at her here. She's standing like a queen. And look how
Yeah.
Colin's looking at her. Literally, we all want a man to look at us like that.
Yes, no, I absolutely loved it. But we went from that romantic kind of, I don't want to call it romantic, but that set tune to then something completely different because after that was Antoinette, and they skated to You Spin Me Around. And their creative was kind of this video game, which, it started off and I wasn't quite sure, but I ended up really, really liking it. But it's not an easy thing to skate to, not to choreograph to, and not to have as a creative. So I thought they really did well. But their looks, actually, that first picture I had with Anton too, he had some extra hair in there, right? I think, were they going for a little bit of the Wolverine hairstyle again?
I think they recycled the Wolverine hairpiece and gave him a flat top, which is very 80s. He was giving me all the
It's
Max Headroom type feels, or the Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop, that type of feel, which I love a lot. But again, we've seen them wear black a lot. And I'm not sure if that was because Anton was uncomfortable at first with the colours. Obviously, we have seen him since wear colours, but we've seen them wear a lot of black and a lot of leather or PVC, which is quite a masculine look. I mean, obviously, Annette carries it off perfectly. And this week it was kind of black and yellow and blue. But again, very masculine, and it felt very appropriate for him because he's not a pretty skater. Obviously, he is an aggressive kind of athletic skater.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that they're working to their strengths. We have to talk a little bit about Annette's hair, though. Look at that.
Yes, I love this. Again, the crimped look, and then it was like dipped in a bit of blue, purple, and black, like all these colors. I mean, that was amazing. Can you imagine how doing that every morning though would take time if that was your daily look?
I
But
think
no,
you would suit a dip dye. You could do that with your little ponytail. You just upside down, dip that in, and then you're good to go for the day. I loved it. I love the little dip dye. I think it was really original and really cutesy.
yeah, no, I don't think actually I've seen that on the show before. So that's original. Oh, I can't even pronounce that. That's why I can't say it. You got to do it.
Originality.
So they probably have listened to the judges as well backstage. They're going to bring that as well in heaps and bounds. And yes, really pretty. Talking about her eye makeup here as well. It was a really kind of dark eye and again blue, but she had crystals in her eyes, which I really enjoy. Obviously, not something they can do all the time, but it's a really, really fun way to just kind of brighten and make the eye pop a little bit, especially if you have a darker color, darker smoky eye. But she looked really good. And again, just completely contrasting with the really bright lip there as well.
Now, I don't like crystals on the eye. I find that the glue can be quite irritating. I find that when you try to open your eye, it can get stuck in the creases. I'm not a fan of crystals on the eye. Maybe on the outside of the eye or on the inside, but when it goes across the eye like that, I find that actually quite cumbersome. So I think she dealt with that really well. And I think it's, if you can deal with it, it is worth it because it's a wonderful look. I just don't personally like the feel of it. So well done to you, Annette.
Yes. Well, actually, if we're going to say that, I think a lot of hairstyles and hair makeup, don't you agree that we wear maybe not always the most comfortable things? So if we were going for comfort, probably wouldn't be wearing half the things we do as women and not maybe be styling our hair and doing our makeup. But like you said, it's sometimes worth the while because it's amazing. It's fun that we get to play with all these, hairstyles and colors and makeup. So But talking about colors and some makeup as well, after this was bright. It was Sam and Molly, and they skated to Push It. Completely again different creative, and I have to say they probably had my to date favorite set piece on the ice. They started off in this massive, like, what is it even called? Is it cassette player? What was it back in the 80s? Boombox? I don't
A
even know what you would call
boombox.
it. Boombox, that's what it is. But I really, really loved, because when I heard, they announced that they were going to skate to this, I was like, "Ooh, that's a tough piece. That's a really tough piece to skate to." But I mean, especially the beginning, just really for me was amazing, and again, just made that whole. It created the look straight away with the screens, with the boombox, with them dressed as chips and gravy. And again, they had all, we said we want them to have something, they've been a bit bland for a few weeks, and we said we want them back in something really spectacular. And for me, this really was that. I'm not necessarily talking about all the skating and everything, and I know there was a few mishaps there too, but just their pure look here. Look at that. Molly smiling, and the whole I love the costumes here too. They were really funky and maybe comfortable to skate in. I don't know, more like training gear.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Matt Evers asked me on the main episode of The Icebreakers which my favourite creative was of the night, and I actually ended up saying Sam and Molly's because you're right, it was so much fun. That boombox, which was huge, by the way, I don't know how they managed to get that on and off the ice in time without us even noticing. It was absolutely seamless, so well done to the crew guys backstage. But that boombox was literally screaming 1980s, wasn't it? And I think that really did set the tone, like you said, and I loved them. I loved the way they skated. I didn't, love everything that they did in terms of the skating skills, but the choreography was fantastic, and the look, like you said. I mean, this look for me is something I want to recreate. So Molly's giant, massive, huge pink hair is literally the stuff of dreams. She looks like a candy floss. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's almost a shame she had to put the cap on for the routine. She should have just wore it like that. But I love it, and I love her makeup too, with this bright pink that really, and the yellow on the corner of the eye on the inseam there. And again, just look at her there. It's like it's like the just want to party when you see her face. And yeah, it really was a smiley happy piece too.
She looks like a 1980s cover girl, and I am all over it. I just think, girl, you won this week. You won the trophy this week just with that look alone, and we are here for it. Those beautiful white teeth against that bright pink lipstick, like you said, the accents of yellow on the eyes, and then the darker liner. Wow, fantastic. She could have been straight from the 1980s cover of Vogue. Fabulous.
Yes, I really enjoyed it. So, chef's kiss for that. That was my favorite. I know we may be supposed to save it till the end, but that was my favorite creative actually. Close call with Molly and Colin, because I really enjoyed theirs too. But I gotta say, this week Sam and Molly nailed it for me. So
Oh, and for me, it was a close call with Antoinette, actually. I really enjoyed their whole routine. So, yeah, but looking at the creatives overall, yes, Sam and Molly, hands down, fantastic. 10 out of 10, guys. Loved it. Well, we
but of
have to
course,
move. We have to move on, and I really don't want to because we're going to
I
talk
was
about
gonna
the
say,
team skate, and it's not my favorite part of the show anyway. And even the creatives, they were okay. Why don't you take this one? I'm going to start off. Here we go.
right.
Talk
So
us
I
through.
think they really they tried the team challenge. I know we all it's been around, but anyways, they were doing the battle of the fashion houses. So we had Team Westwood, and then we had Team Gaultier, which is the one we're seeing on screen now. So again, it kind of, I don't know if it was announced. I didn't hear it straight away, so it didn't really make sense to me on the night. However, now that I know what the creative was, I actually think it is better than I thought it was watching it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Because I like that it's kind of this fashion battle. But watching it on the night, somehow I missed that. I was making notes, and I just saw these two different looks, and I didn't really get it. And I do feel like the one team, which is the one on screen, had potentially the the winning look as well, and the winning creative. So I didn't necessarily think it was fair. but again, if I think there's a close up picture of the other team as well, which was Michaela's team, Team Westwood. And if I do look at this close up picture here, I have to say the costumes are really funky as well, and I do like them. It was just somehow on the ice, and they got lost with so many skaters. Like when I just watched it on TV, when I started looking at pictures afterwards, I was like, oh, it actually is really cool. But somehow on the ice, it got completely lost, and I think I texted you. I thought it was Les Miserables. Like I was like, oh, are they doing musical weeks already? Like I thought it was literally some people from Les Mis and then these cool cats, the other team, who
Yeah,
also, to be fair, was they had three, unison looks, three tall guys, three blondes. It was very like the costumes they had for me. Yes, the better look.
yeah, so I think with the team Westwood, the problem was the creative or the costumes that they had were pink and burgundy and this sort of tartan look. And actually, you're right. In close up, in a still like that, the costumes are fantastic, and there's been a lot of thought and effort gone into them. You can see that they're wearing kilts over their trousers, and they've got this sort of asymmetric look to the kilts the boys have, and the girls are in the cute little corsets. So it's actually a great look there. But I think what happened was, and the reason I got lost was because the lighting in the back of the set was a deep purple and pink as well. And so when you put burgundy on burgundy, you end up with a bit of a bland look. And so they got lost in the creative and they got lost in the background of those lightings. Whereas I think the Gautier team in their black and white and their silver just stood out, which seemed almost like an unfair advantage. I'm sure it wasn't planned that way, the costume department and the creative department potentially just thought that they were didn't realize that they were going to be in the same tonal kind of color scheme. So I think that's what happened there, and it was a shame really, because to be honest, when you watch a team skate, you can't really tell who's skating better anyway, can you? So you kind of going, oh, who looks better? And of course these guys kind of clinched it.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, unfortunately, I probably shouldn't have said, like you said, it's probably not what they planned to do. They wanted it to be equal, but different looks and everything. But for me, there was a winning team, and I'm not even talking skating or anything. I just thought basically they could have just come out of the tunnel and stood in a lineup. And also, frustratingly enough, of course, it didn't change anything. So I just feel like, yeah, that was it. Didn't change anything. Of course, we got to see a bit more skating, but it was hard to pick people out. So
Yeah, I agree. It was, for me, it's a bit of a non-starter, the team effort. But I have to say, we have to give now at the end of this podcast, we have to give a little shout out to Queen Torville. I mean, Vivian Westwood, who? No. Look at this woman slay. Now, she's wearing purple, Alex. What do you think that means? Because purple is normally reserved for the final, for Bolero. She's dressed head to toe in purple. And I wondered if it was because this week we celebrated Valentine's Day. And of course, they won the gold in Sarajevo and that perfect score that they had on Valentine's Day. Do you think she was just celebrating Bolero Day? Wink, wink.
I think both her and Chris were definitely wink wink celebrating Bolero Day. I
I'm,
think
I'm here for it. I love that. Guys, we were celebrating with you.
yes, no, I mean, again, I loved Jane's, everything from her makeup to her hair. And of course, that dress, like you just mentioned, was absolutely stunning on her. And again, purple. You said everybody looks good in purple, but I feel especially Jane looks really good in purple.
Well, thank goodness, because she's won a lot of it over the last 50 years. And I mean, girl, every year they're like, put the purple on. And she's like, oh, again. She probably even hates purple by this point, but she looks so good in it. And look at her. I mean, her face is just a picture of joy here. She's got a darker, sort of rosy red lipstick on. She's got those lovely glowing cheeks, really light eye. But the
Yeah.
hair is fantastic. So much movement to her hair with those curls in it. I have to say, if there's going to be a queen of the ice this week, Jane Torval is 100% hands down Queen Jane.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. But I am excited. Next week is musical weeks. So again, because I feel again, I know we keep saying it. I'm like, maybe next week with 80s, I thought was going to bring more musicals. They got to go big there, right? It's got to be huge screens, set props, big musicals. Bring it. And actually, after that, we only got 2 more weeks left, so it's gone really fast, this series.
That's
Yeah.
bonkers. I know. Yeah, Musicals Week is Oh, I say this every week, but it's also one of my favourite weeks. I didn't say it the week before last because we had no theme. So, but last week, 80s was going to be my favourite week. Kind of fell a little flat for me, but maybe that was the team skate that took the shine off. But musicals week, come on. What are you going to dress as next week? Give us a clue.
Ooh, I don't know, but I got chills. I shouldn't say that.
Perfect.
Mute that out.
I should do quickly before we leave. I need to quickly do the
Oh yeah.
lip, don't I? I was going to do a nice sparkly lip for you guys. So the key to a sparkly lip is, and I'm going to have to shut up, obviously, because I'm going to have to do it. But the key to a sparkly lip is to not put to put the sparkles on first. Anytime you do like a sparkly eye like this, make sure you do your eye first before you do the rest of your makeup. So no, don't put your foundation on or your concealer or anything like that. Make sure that you have a nice creamy base on your eyelid, and then put the glitter on straight away. That way, if any of it falls off, you can clean it off with some moisturizer. You don't need to like scrub at your face. Just get some moisturizer and wipe that off with a nice cotton ball, nice and gentle, and then you can do the rest of your makeup afterwards. But I didn't want to sit here and just chat to you with one glittery eye till the end of the show. So I thought, oh, I'll do a glittery lip. So I'm going to put on, this is a concealer. It's by It Cosmetics, which I absolutely love. We're not sponsored, but I would love to be. And I'm going to put some concealer on my lips to make it nice and creamy, and then I'm going to add a glitter. So take it away, Alex.
Yes, I actually want to. While you're doing this, obviously, I know you can't talk, but I want to ask later too what it is. I think that's a really, even though you're not doing a glittery eye as well, talking about what you put on a base to get the glitter to stick, because obviously you're using this cream base here on your lip is to have something for the glitter to adhere to. So obviously, if you take loose glitter and you just pop it on, it might stay for a minute, might stay for a few seconds, but you want to use something that it can adhere to. So finding a good, and obviously you want to find something that's, if you're using, now I can see a little shimmery silver lip coming on. This looks amazing. But obviously on your eye, if you're using, a darker color or a bright color or whatever, you need to make sure that whatever you put underneath is then nude based or cream based.
That's a really good point. And actually, if I was going to wear something like a bronzy colour, I might even use a cream black underneath just to make that colour pop. Also, if I was using a gold glitter, I might use a black underneath just to make that colour pop. Obviously, you'd have to put more glitter on then to make it happen. I've gone a bit space agey, haven't I?
Yeah, but I do love it. I cannot actually believe that this is my 80s looking at. Well, I have sparkles here, but you know me, I talk about this a lot, but I do love a glittery lip. I love a glittery eye as well. So you're completely rocking this podcast for me now, Frankie.
Right, I'm going to move on to the top lip.
You're going to do the top. So obviously, again, very important to get this cream base underneath, so you have somewhere to get the glitter to stay on, especially on the lips. I love wearing I usually do a red, if I do red lippy, lippy. That's my red lippy, that's my look, but red lipstick, and then you can pop some red glitter on top if you really want, but to make them pop a little bit more. But if, when you drink or if you have something to eat, just be careful because it does move around. So maybe drink through a straw or something. I remember having, I think on Dancing on Ice, a glitter lip, and they did put it on very early in the morning. And it was a whole day to get through without making it go everywhere else. So I had to drink through a straw and I had to eat in very small bites. There we go. Looks very, very nice.
So there you go, a full glitter lip. And as Alex was saying, you almost want to load so much glitter on that it becomes matte. You don't want it to feel sticky because otherwise your hair will stick in it and drag it across your face. So preparation is key, guys. Well, thank you once again for joining us on the Icebreakers Lookbook. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you get notifications next time we do an episode for you, and we hope to see you guys. What is it? You always have to say something, don't you? Like, subscribe, and comment.
And comment, yes. We want to hear your comments. So please let us know what you want to see. Actually, we do have a few things maybe planned for you, but let us know tutorial wise too, if there's something specifically you want us to demonstrate or Frankie to demonstrate for you. Let us know.
That's right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on the Icebreakers Lookbook, and we will see you next week for Musicals Week. Thank you so much, Alexandra Schauman, and it's good night for me.
Good night from Sweden. Mwah.